Thanks for joining us. And it's been heralded as a tool that will revolutionize Ghana's economy. But how accessible will it be? The new digital addressing system, which will be available on the GhanaPostGPS app, is only available on smartphones. This means for persons without smartphones, there may be no way of finding their digital addresses. Chief Executive Officer for Vocacom, developers of the GhanaPostGPS app, however, says there may be ways for such persons to take advantage of the system.
First thing you do is go to your store, whether
you mean Play Store?
Play Store, yes.
Okay, so I go to Play Store.
Go to your Play Store, and then you search for GhanaPostGPS.
I search for GhanaPostGPS?
Yes, actually you can just search for Ghana Post, and you will get access to the app. Now tap the download button and download it. That is basically all you have to do.
Okay.
Now once it is downloaded, you get into the process of registering for the app. It will ask you for your name and your telephone number. You supply those details and you will be able to go ahead and use the app. For let me answer this in two ways.
Okay, sir.
One, if you look at the prevalence of WhatsApp, right? It is when it started out really as an office tool for the literate. Now people have figured out
the chat sites.
Yes, you know,
WhatsApp.
Exactly. Now people have figured out how to use it. Even the illiterates have figured out that when I'm trading, I can take your shoes picture, send it to Roland, and say, "Oh, Roland, do you like this?" Roland says, "Oh yeah, how much is it?" You know, so using technology is not the preserve of the literate. Everybody can and does use technology. Now, specifically, my concern is always actually being on those who don't have smartphones, not those who are not literate, because the steps are very simple. All you do is you go, you find, you download, and you say, "What's my address?" Now, for those who don't have smartphones, they are the constituency that we are most worried about. There are two options that are available to support those ones. One is Ghana thrives on the communal spirit, and the encouragement we are doing is speak with a neighbor who has a smartphone to come and help you generate your address. If, on the other hand, you don't have any neighbor, then the next one is walk up to your nearest Ghana post office and ask the postman to come and get your address for you. The post offices have been trained, they have been equipped to come and do that for you. Countrywide, yes. Because you know there are 380 plus post offices across the nation. You know, we have a post office in every district. There's no single district in this country that doesn't have a post office. In fact, some have 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now, one of the key things that is there is these people at the front lines have been given the requisite training and the tools necessary to come and help. So, assuming that your community, there is nobody there with a smartphone at all, go to the post office that is nearest to you, request the postman to come and do it. Now, normally, because it may be one whole community, the postman may decide to dedicate a specific day to the whole community. So when he comes, he'll be able to give everybody the address that they have.
That is for those who have yams.
Yes.
Yam.
Now, Deputy Communications Minister George Anda has also been speaking to Joy News, and he says an interministerial committee has been formed to oversee the system.
And that is why His Excellency the President, the visionary leader that he is, has set up an interministerial committee. So you have somebody from the Lands Commission, you have somebody from the Ministry of Finance, from the Ministry of Communications, from the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, from the National Security, from the Data Protection Commission, that are looking at two things. There's a bit about security, okay, and there's another committee that's looking at harmonization, the addressing system that the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development was putting in place. So that's the street naming things. So it's harmonizing the two systems so that, I mean, it all feeds into the right digital the data addressing system that we are going on. I had something quite interesting today when I was coming. A friend of mine called me and asked me that and I'm like, what is that? So the data address is now 9 characters. So now they don't say Shushemi Womi 18. It's 9. 9 is the term to use. Now,
concerns have been raised about security of the data that this app will be storing. already government is speaking of integrating passport numbers, bank accounts details, and the like into this addressing system. So how safe is this data from hackers and other criminals? The people mandated to ensure the safety of our data are the Data Protection Commission, and their Executive Director, Patricia Eduse-Poku, joins us on the line to answer our questions. Ma'am, thank you very much for joining us. How can you assure us that the data that will be stored by this app will be safe?
So we have, good morning to all your listeners, and just to assure you, we have set up high-level committees of all relevant key stakeholders to be involved in the strategizing around how we safeguard the protection of the personal data collected. We have taken relevant steps to ensure that the appropriate technology is being used through our expert group for NITA and other firewalls led by the experts in NITA to ensure that on the technical front that we are protecting the data through the use of appropriate infrastructure. On the other end, apart from using technology, we're looking at embarking, and work has already started. You will find out in a week or so time that we will commence work in scaling up data protection awareness across the nation, because the important and relevant aspect of protecting personal data lies on the people involved. So we're looking at the product, which is this address system that we're working. Then we have the processes in place, and then the third aspect of it is the people. We have got a good product. We are putting in appropriate processes through the implementation of relevant policies and raising awareness. And the third factor here are the people involved. So what I am encouraging and promoting is that the people of Ghana, the citizens, also take charge to ensure that they challenge the status quo whenever they are faced with the collection of data or processing their personal data. Feel free to challenge and complain to my commission, and they'll have my full backing to ensure that we are proactively challenging ourselves and ensuring that we're putting the appropriate systems and processes in place to protect the data on a continuous basis.
Right, ma'am. A lot of times, eyes are trained outward at hackers who could be trying to enter the system and take the data. But it's also possible that employees of, this company, Vocacom, that develop the app, or the Ghana Post workers that work with the app, could also decide to enter some criminal activities with the data. How sure are we that, the people working around it are also prevented from going to places they are not supposed to go?
Okay, so that's a good point you're making. This is where we're talking about the people factor. So we can have the best of technologies and the best of processes in place, but people do let systems down. And so we are very aware of that. I have a lot of engagement and collaboration ongoing with the National Cybersecurity Secretariat to ensure that people involved directly in the collection and processing of personal data for this process are being background checked and assessed to ensure that we have the appropriate integrity to handle the collection and processing of personal data. We are also, on the other side, also looking at raising awareness and training staff who are directly involved to the appropriate standards as dictated by the Data Protection Act 843, to ensure that they are fully aware of their obligations and their contributions to the national objective.
Right, thank you very much, Mrs. Patricia Eduse-Poku, for your time. She's the Executive Director for the Data Protection Commission.